the shadow behind the walls of girls' boarding school. Jomoke Adeyemi was the last child of Chief and Mrs. Adeyemi, a prominent business family in Lagos, with 3 older boys who were deep into their careers. Jomoke was pampered and shielded from the rigors of everyday life. She didn't know how to sweep, nor cook, or even iron her clothes. Her parents called it modern parenting. Society called it negligence. When she turned 15, her mother made a fateful decision. She must go to boarding school. She's too lazy and becoming spoiled. Her mother insisted. Chief Adeyemi hesitated, but she's our only baby. Charity begins at home, his wife snapped. And if we didn't teach her, the school will. Many wealthy parents often send their children to Adoni Girls High School, not knowing the evil going on in the school. What many parents didn't know was the exact route behind the gate of Adoni Girls High School. Some girls experimented with drugs smuggled in by senior students. Others were involved in cults like midnight rituals, said to protect them from punishment and curses. The school leadership prioritized repetition over reform. Offending teachers were rotated rather than punished. The culture was one of silence, fear, and survival. Girls from broken homes found family in gangs. Wealthy girls bullied the less privileged, just like in the case of Adora, a quiet girl from Enugu who rarely spoke. She had come to Adonia Girls with a scholarship and a suitcase full of hope. Within her first term, she had become a shell of herself. She was regularly picked on by her dorm leader, Modupe, who saw Adora's intelligence as a threat. Her mattress was soaked, her notebook torn. She was made to wash the toilet each night, while others mocked her with songs. One night, Adora took sleeping pills she had hoarded from the sick bay. She was found unconscious but alive. The school covered it up, reporting it as a medical reaction. Like other parents, Jumoke's parents brought her to school to be molded and for better results. That was how Jomoke found herself in Adoni Girls High School, a prestigious all-girls boarding school in the outskirts of Ogun State. Boarding school was a sharp slap to the face. Jomoke was thrown into dormitory with 25 other girls. Within hours, her clothes were stolen. Her food provisions were taken from her by force, and she became a target for bullies. "I heard you are from Lekki," said a girl named Sharon. "We will see how long you last." Another girl, Folake, offered to help her settle in. "Just stick with me. I will show you the ropes." Folake did more than just showing her around. She introduced her to the secret corners of the school, where senior girls smoked behind chemistry lab, where contraband phones were hidden, and where girls met inappropriately late at night. She exposed her to so many bad things. Jumoke's new circle included Fumi, a bold senior girl who was openly rebellious. Fumi took liking to her. "You are too soft," she teased one night. "Let me show you how to survive here." Soon, Jumoke started sneaking out of the dorm at night, breaking curfew and indulging in risky behaviors. She even partied with seniors. The emotional emptiness created by her distant parents made her cling to anyone who showed her affection. That's how her relationship with Fumi deepened into something physical and confusing. She introduced her to so many lesbians. They engaged in all sorts of immoral acts. The relationship flourished in secrecy, protected by an unspoken code among the girls. No one snitched. Jomoke felt loved for the first time, but it came at a cost. She began losing interest in academics. During prep classes, she would sit in the dark with Fumi. Her grades reduced. She avoided church and consistently got into trouble with the hostel matron. The few teachers who noticed her changes did nothing. "It's just a phase," one whispered. "All girls go through it." One fateful day, a junior student reported the nightly disappearance of some students. The school launched an investigation and found out that Fumi was involved. She was expelled. Jomoke, surprisingly, was spared. but the damage was done. She later found solace in a male teacher named Mr. Sheyi. He was kind, always ready to listen, and often singled her out for praises. Jomoke felt safe around him, but it was only the beginning of another trap. Mr. Sheyi began inviting Jomoke to his office under the guise of extramural lessons. It felt like a refuge from the hostile environment. But the boundary between teacher and student gradually blurred. He began touching her inappropriately, manipulating her with praises and sympathy. "You are special, Jomoke. I see greatness in you," he said one evening. She smiled, unaware of the looming danger. Eventually, he crossed the line completely by having intercourse with her. Jomoke, confused and ashamed, didn't speak out. She kept seeing him, not realizing how much of her dignity she was losing. Weeks later, she missed her period. Panic gripped her. A pregnancy test was conducted on her, and the test proved that she was pregnant. She was 16, alone and terrified. She confronted Mr. Sheyi. "That's impossible," he scoffed. "You have been with girls, haven't you? Maybe it's one of those boys you sneak out with." This is not the first time he is impregnating students and denying it, warning them not to mention his name. He denied everything. When the news reached the principal, Jomoke was expelled for indecency. Mr. Sheyi was quietly transferred, and the matter swept under the rug. Chief and Mrs. Adeyemi were shattered. They had sent their daughter to boarding school to make her better. Instead, she returned broken, pregnant, and humiliated. The shame was unbearable. Jumoke's mother wept day and night. Her father blamed himself. Maybe if we had taken more time with her, maybe if we didn't rely on others to parent our child. The news spread like wildfire in their community. Friends turned away, and Jomoke became a symbol of scandal. But with the support of a counselor and a new school, Jomoke began to heal. Therapy was slow but steady. Her parents finally became emotionally available. Her brothers, initially angry, stepped in to support her. She gave birth to a baby girl, Tara. Becoming a mother gave her a new sense of purpose. She returned to school, studying harder than she had ever done. Jomoke became an advocate for mental health and student protection. Jomoke, now in recovery, started looking deeper into how schools like Adonu girls managed to keep their reputation intact. She discovered a web of complicity. Inspectors paid off, reports altered, and PTA meetings that never addressed the real issue. Parents were often given rehearsed tours. Hostels were cleaned only during inspections. Girls lived in dilapidated dorms, bathed in mosquito-infested water, and shared toilets that barely flushed. Jumoke's foundation began establishing anonymous reports. Parents started to demand transparency. A few brave teachers joined her cause, sending her proof of forged student records and silenced complaints. At a conference in Lagos, Jomoke addressed a crowd of 300 parents. Her words were not softened. Boarding schools are not prisons. They are not dump sites for untrained children. They are not reform centers. They are supposed to be home away from home. But without you, they become cages. A father in the crowd stood and cried. He had sent his daughter to an elite boarding school in Abuja. She had returned after 2 years with depression and anxiety. He had thought it was adolescence. Jomoke proposed a nationwide education renovation. She worked with curriculum developers to include emotional education, abuse awareness, and ethics in schools. Pilot programs began in 10 public schools. Student behavior improved. Guidance and counselor reported fewer cases of depression. The government took note. Tara turned 5. She had her mother's eyes and her father's dimpled chin. Jomoke watched her daughter walking into her first day of school. She was too grateful of the gift of her daughter. She wrote a note to all parents. Parenting is a full-time job. Never leave your child in the hands of an institution and disappear. Be present, be involved.